Good morning, gang, and welcome to our comparative analysis of the films Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg, and Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Throughout this film, me and the boys will be looking at various film techniques utilized by each director, as well as the cultural context surrounding each work. So please, turn off your cell phones, sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Psycho was released in 1960 and basically invented the slasher film in the thriller horror genre. The plot was rejected by producers, so Hitchcock made the movie on his own money with his TV crew rather than his feature film crew. The film was a smash hit, breaking box office records and earning Hitchcock over $15 million. The film broke norms with sex and violence displayed in the movie, taking place during the erosion of the production code. The code regulated what was and was not allowed on screen, and Hitchcock broke the rules in several ways. One notable example being the opening scene, where the characters Sam and Marion are shown as lovers, sharing the same bed. Jaws was released in 1975 and was considered the first blockbuster movie that, like Psycho, broke box office records on release. It exists in the thriller genre, with the first part of the movie borrowing techniques from horror films, while the second part is shot more like an action film. The book Jaws was released following the Watergate scandal and serves as a political statement on post-Watergate cynicism. The idea of corruption and distrust of government is portrayed through the mayor of the resort town, Murray Hamilton. However, some changes from the book, such as the survival of Hopper at the end of the movie, which according to film critic Andrew Bitton, make it more of a communal exorcism, a ceremony for the restoration of ideological confidence. Each of these movies had an interesting cultural impact, creating irrational fears towards settings displayed in the movie. Following the smash hit of Jaws, people became afraid to swim in the water. The techniques throughout the film had succeeded in making people frightened of even setting foot into water at the beach. In a similar way, Psycho made many people say they were more wary when in the shower. The shower scene is one of the most famous scenes in film history, partly due to the suspense and fear that was created within the scene. The actress in the scene, Janet Leigh, was so affected that she started locking all her windows and leaving the bathroom door open whenever she showered. In terms of the film techniques used by each director, the way they built suspense was critical to the way their respective films played out. There are many similarities in how these two films were shot, especially in the ways that Spielberg found inspiration from Hitchcock. But in the end, each film had a very distinct style, which can be seen through every aspect of their creation. The primary technique used in this scene to build suspense is the Hitchcock zoom, funnily enough named after the director of this film, Alfred Hitchcock. What? This technique involves the use of a dolly cam, where the camera is placed on a dolly and moves backwards in smooth motion, in this case following Milton Arbogast up the stairs. Not only this, but the camera zooms at the same time, distorting the image. This serves to unsettle the audience, and along with other techniques used to create an environment of mystery and danger. One other such technique is the music playing in the background, or more accurately, the sound. As Arbogast is walking up the stairs, a high-pitched noise is playing, in order to further unsettle the audience. In this next scene from Jaws, it is evident how Spielberg was influenced by the techniques used by Hitchcock. The Hitchcock zoom is used when Brody sees danger, in a very similar way to how it was used in the scene before. By pulling the dolly cam away from the center of focus and zooming at the same time, it makes the audience feel uneasy and like danger is coming. In this case, you can feel how close the shark is to attacking its next victim. Other techniques used throughout this scene include the way color was used by Spielberg. Specifically, the way danger was displayed through color, like the boy's shorts being red and the repeated yellows. The cinematography and composition of the shot were also very important, with the sheriff facing away from the people going through the wall to show lack of control. There was also an emphasis on responsibility, along with danger, with shots from the sheriff's point of view looking out on the water, and a camera's focus on him. This next scene from Psycho is the famous shower scene, possibly one of the most important scenes in the entire film. In this scene, Hitchcock uses different techniques in order to build suspense, specifically contrast and color. Danger is shown in the contrast between the white shower curtain and the black silhouette of the killer as it is approaching the victim. There is also slow, high-pitched music to increase the anxiety of the audience. And it is also shown from the inside of the shower, the point of view of the woman, in order to build some dramatic irony, as we can see the killer, but she cannot.
One technique employed by both directors was how they treated the villain of the movie. Both Hitchcock and Spielberg decided to hide the villain until the end, though in slightly different ways. Hitchcock uses this technique in order to make the audience think they know who the villain is. By showing the silhouette, we think that Norman Bates' mother is the killer, setting up situational irony by subverting expectations that the viewers have on the killer. A similar technique is also employed in Jaws to produce a very different effect. From the beginning, the identity of the killer is shown by the audience, unlike in Psycho, so the technique is used to make the automatronic shark more frightening. Though the original reason for hiding the shark throughout the film is because the shark was actually breaking down in the East Coast saltwater, Spielberg found that his inability to use the shark actually made for a more effective film overall. The shark itself was the most criticized part of the movie, and presenting it as little as possible made the cheesiness of the automatronic less impactful.
These two films were both important and groundbreaking to the thriller horror genre. Even outside of the film industry, they made impacts on the world. Both directors utilized a variety of techniques to build tension and suspense that paid off massively with viewers and at the box office.
Alright, sounds good. Now it's